It looks like we have a couple people that are up here
and
for
I'm so
answering
glad we're
questions.
filming this so everyone knows how cool we aren't. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
We are
Come on
so
up
ready
and-
for you.
So what's your favorite line from your character in general?
There you go.
The wisteria ends here, so the demons are very hungry.
Good one.
In any anime, whenever I can do an ultimate move attack, I always think of those because I grew up with Street Fighter and everyone says Sonic Boom right before they do their move. So my favorite is his ultimate move, the Blood Demon Art 1,000 Needle Fish Kill. I love that one.
Oh my God, those goldfish.
I know, right?
The only time we ever had to redo something, and but that works with the needles in the goldfish needles.
Yeah.
What else?
Is there a favorite line? Because you've seen everybody do everything.
Yeah.
Is there a line that sticks out in your brain, or a moment, or a scene?
Well, when I say the goldfish, that really does stick out because it took. That's the only thing in Demon Slayer we ever had to redo. That came back and was like, this doesn't work. You got to do something else.
Yeah.
And so we had to start all of. That's why I would sweat you so hard in the games. Those of you who had to go. You were one of those people, weren't
Yeah.
you? Because they had a problem with the way that we had done it the first time, which was I had growls, and the growling didn't work for them. They wanted it to sound, more like the Japanese, and that was.
Because if you listen to the Japanese goldfish, they actually do sound. They're like.
Yes.
Right, but then we found out that they put on an effect for it. So for it to lower down that far, if I'm already making a sound that's too much like it, it sounded really weird apparently. So they were like, no, go higher and go like.
Yes, and then in addition to that, another person would come in, Christina V.
Yeah.
and Christina would then go on the high end, so that there were two.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And so there's two waveforms of two different actors, low, high, and then they kind of combine them. I don't know if that's not really your question, but that's what it's making me think of. And then how funny is it though when it blows those spikes into Mauriccio's face and he's just the same way he is the whole time, which is, I wonder how this is supposed to feel with spikes in my face, or whatever he says. That's my memory anyway. Did that sort of come close to answering your question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your favorite off-script line that you've said or wished you could add to the show?
Hey, Steve.
Favorite off-script line? I don't think we had any off-script lines.
For anime.
But-
There's the director of that show is pretty much all business. I don't entertain bloopers unless they're naturally, not like I don't have a rule about it or anything, but so even as I think about it, I'm like, not that many funny off-script lines going on in this show. There's a client there, and whenever a show is famous, a lot of people are looking over your shoulder, so there isn't as much room for fun and games. But if I have a blooper or off-script line that comes to me, I'll shout it out in the middle of this panel and tell you. But mostly we stick to the script because we've got to get the work done in a finite amount of time. And so if a blooper occurs that's natural and it's funny, we'll leave it there mostly so that when it goes to the mix, the mixers get to enjoy it. But then no one else gets to hear it.
Gotcha.
But people like Ray Chase often are throwing out bloopers just because,
Robbie
especially when
Damon,
he's like,
Ray Chase. Who else
I'm,
is good?
it's gotta be flashy. He'll come up with something funny like that. Let's eat these potato chips, that kind of thing.
Because that's
So-
his personality.
That's his personality, right? But nothing too funny.
Yeah.
I wish I had a funny line for you.
It's okay.
I heard lots of actable, non-volume adjectives for voice acting, like strict, military, gruff.
Yes.
Happy. Let's see. And I was wondering which of those types of which of those? Oh, sorry, I'm getting nervous now. Which of those actable non-volume adjectives have you used throughout the directing style of Demon Slayer?
Well, sometimes, depending on who the actor is, I will just say louder. Even though the paragraph underneath it is, I don't get the sense so much that you're understanding his negativity. And if I'm just going, and really, there's a certain anger he's having. But if I know the actor and I say, louder, lo and behold, if that actor just does it louder, I get everything else that the paragraph stated. That's my philosophy about directing, that the actor will do it. You do not need to explain it. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like 20-minute explanation when I'm an actor. It doesn't help me because I'm ready to go. They've said the first 2 words and I'm like, let me try it. And then they're talking to me about why I'm doing it and what's up. So specifically, sometimes I do say louder, but that's because I know if they do it louder, I'll get what I want. Mostly, I'll, a little sharper. Give me a little, do it exactly what you just did, but with a bite. Those are, that doesn't mean I know what that's gonna sound like, but when I say that, any actor goes, that's an idea right there. I'll do it again with a bite. Whatever that means, and then I get something. See what I'm saying? As opposed to, I'm not quite getting this sorrow. I'll think of something to say that an actor can put their attention on to do, as opposed to subtract, and then it usually works out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What made you guys want to pick like your character's like voice? Like, what made you want to pick those specific characters to voice?
We audition usually for tons of parts unless they just ask us to do one. And then there's a really great process when we come in. Sometimes they want it to be like the Japanese. There's several of my animes, Kana Ueda. We voice a lot of similar characters because we have a similar voice. But sometimes you'll come in and the director will say, this is what it sounds like in Japanese, but it may not translate in English, that quality of that voice. And so we get to do what we call dial it in. And so when we first come into a session after we've been, booked a character, the director will say, try it higher, how about lower, how about sadder? And especially if there are, like in Demon Slayer, a lot of people might be on the line, and it can take 30 minutes because they'll just have fine-tuned, a little softer, a little more sad, a little louder. Oh, nope, not louder. They don't know what they want. And then when it kind of clicks, and then you get to do the rest of the session and the rest of the series. Did I handle that, Steve?
I would say that's that's exactly right. And then once the voice is dialed in, then it's all being recorded, but the part that's dialed in then gets pulled over and we make that the ref, which we play at the beginning of every session so that you can hear it back. And that first day is tough because what happens is there's 3 or 4 people sitting behind me, and then the protocol in any animation is that clients and producers, for the most part, aren't to talk to actors. The only person who's really supposed to talk to an actor is the director. In a movie, even in a play, that's how it works. That's the protocol. So what happens is the actors give a line reading, and then all these people are discussing it. They say what they think. They talk to each other. I'm listening it, and then they say to me what they want, and then it's my job to then say louder. Or to simplify, paragraphs, in my opinion, don't help actors. Actionable words in the positive, meaning you can't say don't do this, don't do that. That's not an actionable, actable word. So I try to translate what they're saying into something. Give an actor just a little bit of something to do another take, and then you see if you're closer to it or farther away from it. The other thing that needs to be mentioned is the clients, they're not looking for originality necessarily. They want it to sound like it sounds in Japanese, only in English. So this is a perfect example, this character and what we already discussed.
Yeah.
They don't want him coming in and going, I'm Gyokko, right? They want it to sound
Yeah.
They want them to be similar. They want Gyutaro to talk like Gyutaro talked. And so you're also, as an actor, using your skills of mimicry in addition to remaining open, because you really go into that session having no idea other than your audition what it is that you need to bring. So you just do your thing, and then they tell you what to do, right? I mean,
But to your credit, when we first worked on Gyokko, you said something that I really tried to stick in, which was maybe try to distinguish from one, because he has the two eye mouths, right?
Oh, right.
So you said, let's try and see if we can do one mouth having one voice and another mouth having another voice. And it didn't, I remember it came back from the clients that like, we kind of wanted to smooth out a little bit more,
they didn't like our idea.
Yeah, but from there, I gave Gyokko something that the Japanese actor didn't, which I wouldn't have thought of if you hadn't said it, which was, he has like, if you listen to the Japanese, he's in this high register like this. But then I added sort of this deeper thing like this, like this. Yeah, like this sort of, I don't even know what the character would be, but like this just nasty kind of deep voice sound that I was like, I think that would be like super demony. And you were into it, and then they eventually came around. So like there's definitely parts where we had a lot of fun with it. I think to the question too, it's like certain characters you can have a little bit more playfulness with, right? But if like Tanjiro started all of a sudden going, "It's me, Tanjiro," right? Like that's not going to work out. So to each character their own. But yeah,
we try to. That was an example of us being creative on our own and them noticing, and allowing some of it, and then morphing it. But that's a perfect example of us being creative on our own and them kind of reining us in and being like, well, no, but and then they're open to it. They usually come around. I think that if it works, and they understand that. But they have no problem telling us they don't like it and do it again. And always it comes back to me, and I'm like, what's wrong with the way we did it? I can't say that, but that's what I think every time. That's because I take it personally, even though it's not personal. All actors will say that. We all take all of it
dude, we're creatives. We're all creatives, you know.
Even though it's not personal, because it's you. You're the one doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question.
Do you ever want to add something to your character or to a character? That was kind of it.
Ooh, man. I know, right? We listened to the laugh together, and I distinctly remember you, Steve, going, you were very gracious, and you said, you know, if you don't want to do the laugh exactly that way, like it's very specific with the hyo hyo, and I was like, no, right. I want to do it that way. Yeah, you were like, you can kind of like make it more ha-ha or like do something, and I was like, nah, no. I want to. So it's a reverse. It was a reverse, honestly. Like we were like, do we change this? And I was like, nah, let's keep it as is, and I think it's a part of the charm of the character. So. Yeah, it worked, and you did a great job doing your version of his laugh. Ah, thank you. Which kind of is what we're of the brief. Yeah, yeah.
So this question would be one that any of you can chime in on. So considering that the Mugen Train movie was basically the highest-grossing anime film of all time, surpassing even Spirited Away, the 14 to 16-year streak. Wow. Oh, you just knew that.
I guess my check's still in the mail.
Oh, okay. Right. So, anyway, knowing how popular that movie was your approach to this franchise, did it stay the same as to say, we know the weight of this show and it's case consistent, or was it like a wake-up call, considering how popular the movie was?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Steve?
You're looking down at me, I realize.
Well, no, I mean, I'll start it off. If it ain't broke, we don't fix it.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Right? And so I think you have lightning in a bottle. The most difficult thing is not to change it. So whatever the director did, however energy we had, you don't know when something is going to be so huge or not. And so sometimes there can be a difficulty when it becomes a juggernaut to remember the magic that was just the story. It's always about the story. And that's where voice acting is very much a director's medium. Like a lot of people ask us, why did you make this choice or that choice? The writers and the directors actually have a lot more power over what you see and what you feel.
Right. The thing, though, is that then the actor gets the blame and the adulation for all of it. The actor is the tip of the spear always. When we're acting, we're the ones out in front. It's my voice that you're hearing or criticizing or whatever, not the director's choices. And as far as the question you asked, the brief comes to us, it has to be a certain way. So if these changes that you're perceiving and stuff are there, that's because that's been already decided, and what we're doing is putting together a puzzle. We're taking a Japanese puzzle and putting it together in English. And then when it's done and you look at the whole picture, you get that feeling. So as long as we're each responsible for our own parts, them acting, me making sure it fits together in my mind symphonically, I want to hear it, it has to sound right to me. And by that I don't mean the plot, I don't mean any of it, I mean I'm assuming what I'm listening for are the right feelings, the right music to make this story come alive. And then the beautiful part about dubbing is once you put all the elements together and you think, oh, this is gonna suck, this isn't gonna work, and then you watch it and it's like, we made a cartoon. It ends up working. So the choices you're asking about, many of those are made outside of us, outside of our pay grade, and then we execute someone else's vision with our performance talents. Is that a good enough answer? I think that does sort of answer your question.
Bear with what I had in my head.
What's your favorite anime?
Ooh.
Heat Guy J. Do you know Heat Guy J? Have you ever heard of Heat Guy J?
I've never heard of that. What is that?
I was in it, and Bryce's dad, Bob Pappenbrook, if you know Bryce Pappenbrook, he plays Inosuke. Well, he's an actor also because his dad was an actor, and his dad was an actor in anime, Bob Pappenbrook.
My dad was a felon.
Huh?
My dad was a felon.
Oh, okay.
Sorry
I mean,
to hear.
we each,
You don't always have to
our
follow
own
in the
story.
footsteps, but yeah.
And so Bob was this robot, police robot, and I was some hotshot high school detective. You know how anime is, where the high school girls are assassins and they've got all sorts of stuff. And we're roaming around this city that was very Blade Runner style city. And it's only like 12, 13, maybe 20 episodes. It's from like 1999 even, but it's my favorite anime.
Heat Guy J.
Heat Guy J.
I love One Piece.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Got a hand. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
For me, I have to start with Fate, just because I'm Rin. But like, I love the Fate, all the alternate. Your Lie in April was really beautiful. Rose and Maiden. I like, the heartbreaks. I love the stories of the forgotten kids or the kids that have the quiet struggles. I think that's because that was me. So I think anime really excels in bringing that out. And even in One Piece, which is one of my rare that I love the anime plus the live action equally well. And I think it's funny, it's beautiful, and it's zany, but in each of those characters you have that I don't fit in, I'm looking for who I really should be instead of who you think I should be. All of the characters have that, and I think that's really beautiful about the story.
It's about dreams, yeah.
Yeah. Did we do good? Did we get an A? Okay, we're okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Are there any behind the scenes things that go on as you in the industry that you would know that we do not as consumers in the industry that might be interesting? I mean, that the director is the only one who talks to the actor. So
Technically.
anything like that.
I wonder, can you guys think of anything like that?
Is there anything that we know from behind the scenes?
I don't know, lines on the script are numbered in animation, and you refer to a line number by its number in original animation and in anime, that kind of thing when you're in a session to know where to be.
It's a lot of math.
Terminology, right? give me a safety. Sometimes I say, you guys know, I say, give me a safety.
Yeah.
And I can tell when an act,
A
it goes
safety-
beep, 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 and then they don't do anything. I'm like, oh, they don't know what safety means.
We'll do a line, and I might have done a really great line, but my voice might have cracked. But it's such Steve's like, man, I love that. That was hilarious. Can you give me a safety? So do the exact same thing I just did, but it means there might have been a technical glitch in the Pro Tools where it had a in it or something, or there was a nose noise, like something like that wasn't supposed to be there, so he'll say, give me a safety. Or it's brilliant, and he loves it, and he's like, just in case I missed, there's something in it, because we're moving so fast, give me a safety, same read, because I loved it. Okay, moving on, line 47, because we've got 300 to do. And I think one of that reminds me that with games, anime, and certain things, it's like math, it's like grid, it's like an Excel spreadsheet. And the director, that's why I say it's a director's meeting, they kind of have a big picture. And when you come in, they liked your audition, they explain to you, you're in a world, you're in space, whatever's happening. And then there's this kind of strange quantum connection between the director and the voice actor. Because especially in games, they'll say, give me 3 in a row, and we'll move on. And you'll have, it'll say the number, and your character name in a grid, and has the line. And then it'll say happy, sad, she's pinging something in a game, who she's talking to, right? And it's fast. We might have 300, 400, 1,000 of them to do in a session, right?
Right, and then I've been given a brief that says you must make 70 lines an hour. So then I'm working on something else as well, right?
And so I look at it, and that's where that specificity is good. If Steve's like, all right, Mela, give me 3 in a row, I can't say, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. It'd be like, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys.
And then I go, take C, good, number 27.
Moving on.
So,
and it's that fast. And so you give them, I don't sometimes know, but there's some kind of connection that happens after about 10 lines into a session out of 400, 500. I kind of know what he's gonna like, and he'll always pick B, but I'll start to do that where it's like when she's mad, she's flirty, she's sassy. I know the character has these 3 things, and sometimes he'll be like, I like the sassy one, I like the mad one, and then sometimes he'll be like, give me another one like D, give me 2 in a row.
Yes.
And so it's really fast, and there's just some strange connection where I'll know what he wants before he asks, because we're kind of just in sync, and it's very woo-woo. I mean, Steve, do you feel that on the other side as a director sometimes?
Because you get into a workflow.
Yeah.
We both know that work has to get done. I mean, that's the part I think that that I mentioned, but that's what's always looming in the back, is that this is booked from this time to this time, and it can't run over, because if it does, suddenly it costs everybody money, and then they're blaming me, and they're blaming you, and then all that. So we're trying to manage. So you've got to get a flow where it's like, oh, every time he's asking me to do this is what you're thinking inside your head. So then I'll start just doing this on purpose, and then I'll tell he'll like that, and then I might start saying, just give me 2. I only
Instead
need
of
2.
3.
Do that again, like B, only louder. Hold on, we need to listen to this back. There's got a nose knock in there. We can't fix it. Give me 2 more.
Right. And we may
Number
do
36.
30 an hour the first hour, and 100 an hour the second. Once we're in that, it's really
depending.
tight.
And because it moves fast like that, because this is probably one of the more surprising things, we don't get the script ahead of time. So they don't send us the script and we get to study and go into it all. That's probably the biggest, which is why I say improv, because it gives you such an advantage when you need to be confident when you have no idea what you're doing. So that's probably the biggest one. When you hear us, it's not like we're sitting there making notes and Denzel Washingtoning it up. Yeah, we're doing it, and it's there, and it's fresh, and it's right off the page and coming straight to your face. That's the whole anime. That's the whole anime scheme.
And almost all voiceovers are like that. You go in to do a TV commercial, maybe you auditioned for the spot weeks ago, but you come in and the script's there. You've never seen it again or seen it before. So the practice of learning to make things fresh that you are reading cold. And then, of course, now as an actor, but as the director, Mela said it already, I've got an idea of what's going on. So even if an actor is confused, but they're delivering a variety of things, then I know what I'm looking for. So I don't have to explain it to them. I just say B, number 27, and we just move on. I know what puzzle I'm putting together, even though sometimes I can tell actors are confused and they wish they had more information. I get it.
But we don't, and that's why.
Sometimes we don't need it. Yeah.
If they're doing what's right, then I'm fine with them being
You get
confused.
paid, and that's why it's so important what I said to Chase. If you know who you are, what you love quantum theory and physics and cosplay, and you kind of know your quirkiness that you're bringing to it, you're being 3 versions of you. You're not trying to be 18 other people. They wanted you for the job. You got hired for the job. You have to have the same amount of trust in yourself as you do in the director. And then you guys meet in the middle and you get it done.
Right, you do have to have confidence that you know what you're doing because you don't always have answers as an actor. So you have to stand there and make answers for yourself, which is why you're talking about specificity. Those are the answers. You're looking, what do you want me to do? When I'm teaching, I had a famous thing. Like, everyone tells you to ask questions. I'm the guy saying, go to a session, don't ask any questions. I don't want to answer your stupid questions. It's like, figure it out.
I love
Figure
it.
it out. But that's just to make a point. Of course, if someone's like, what? You're going to answer their questions. But a lot of actors are busy asking questions. I'm like, instead of thinking of where you're confused, solve it.
Make
Figure
the
it
choice.
out. Make a choice.
Yeah, and we're not neurosurgeons. Okay, so how many of you guys ever were children? Raise your hands. All right.
Oh, I skipped that part.
Right. How many of you guys were like playing on a playground? Right?
Today.
We may only have 15 minutes. There's no children going, they run out and they're like, I'm going to be a plane, I'm going to be a tree, I'm going to be a ballerina, I'm the president. No children, none of us were like, do I have the tensile strength to be an aerodynamic airplane? Like, nobody's asking questions, right? We got 15 minutes to create some worlds. We don't want to be in school forever. We got 15 minutes. We run around, we scream our lungs out. Nobody hurts their voices. It's funny, no kids come back in from screaming their lungs out with a sore throat, because it's all from our heart, right? So all these exercises that we do as voice actors, a lot of it is we're trying to relax and trust ourselves. But just imagine that you're 7, you got the job, it's play. We're doing games and anime, guys. Nobody dies except
No rocket science.
You know what I'm saying? So you just like do it. Stop asking questions, just be it. And then how many of us came back in from recess and spent the next hour in math class going, God, I hope I was a really good ballerina during recess. Nobody. Good. We don't judge ourselves. We don't question ourselves. Get back to that place where you're like, I'm playing. I'm having a great time. Like, in the scheme of like 1 to nuclear war, anime is like, whoa, I can't believe we get to do this, right? So just like embrace that moment. Same thing with auditions. If you've spent 3 hours on an audition for voiceover, you probably lost the job.
You're not getting it.
Overthinking it, right?
If you're in your car on the phone thinking, oh, I hope this will work, and you send it in, you can still get it.
And you got the job. I booked Jade in a closet on like a USB mic and a phone.
Yeah, that story is repeated throughout. I will say something as an addendum to everything we're saying. You're hearing all this cold, but once you do this all the time, every day, you build these skills to a mighty level. Yeah. We make what seems hard look easy because the cool thing about it is once you get good at it, it is easy. It's just hard to do. Does that make sense? Yeah. You build a facility for executing these tasks.
And do you have anything to add, or can I say one last thing?
Please.
Yeah, you guys are asking really good questions, and I'm going to end it with one of the things you guys don't know is that people talk about Hollywood like it's really cutthroat. The voice acting business, not. It's everyone that sat at our table. It's the Geek Squad. It's all of the weirdos. Everyone is like cheering everybody on. Most of us adore each other. And when we come to these conventions, we're like, oh my gosh, Steve! Like, it's so exciting. What you don't know is that it's an industry filled with people who want you to do well and are cheering you on. So if it's something you guys are dreaming of, I think you might get nervous at an audition, but just know it's not like the other world, that one that we were bullied in or we might have been uncomfortable in high school. The voice acting industry is filled with really kind, funny, intelligent, incredible people that I love to be able to call them my friends. And I hope that anyone that's dreaming of being in the industry, like, you step into it knowing that we can't wait to be in a project with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
2 small questions that pretty much go into the same one. How would someone like me, or I guess anybody else in this room, start voice acting, and how did you guys start? Each one of you, I guess.
That's a great question.
Yes.
Brent?
I can't remember.
Well, when I was born, I went to college for acting, and I don't think I needed to. I think that there's tons of great acting schools that are not collegiate that I could have done. So the course that I took isn't necessarily what I'm suggesting to you. I think that there are tons of great acting opportunities, no matter what age you are. In community theater, improv was something that was a really big part of my life, and still is a large part of my life. I still love going to do improv. So I did as much performance as I possibly could, and then went to a special school that was specifically, it wasn't a college, it was a specific training school for voice acting, and I got to meet a whole bunch of cool people, make the connections. You might hear the phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's both. It's what you know and what your skills are and what you're able to do, but also who you know. And the best part about voice acting is that, unlike, I can't just sign up for a class with Steven Spielberg and be in the next Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean? But like, there are many great casting and directors and actors. Some of your favorite actors are also teachers, and I got to learn so much, and I fell in love with the process of learning. And I mean, honestly, I think that that's really it. Sorry, I don't know if that's me or not.
It's your booming
it's my
training.
Booming training voice. But yeah, like, look for all the information that you can. Understand that the world has opened up a ton after COVID, and there's online classes, there's online things that you can do, there's online resources, and yeah, just keep following the fun, is what a great mentor told to me once.
You guys can go to melalee.com and sign up for my mailing list. Every 6 to 8 weeks, I do a free voice acting class, talk about resources, procedures, like how you can get into it, and some of my favorite voice actors that are teaching, where to invest the money, but making sure that you don't spend money before you need to. You can't buy a career. You can't buy talent. You need to, one of the most important things that you need to know is that it's not about making voices. Your voice is literally a quantum signature of who you are as a person. So, if you made a list of your top 10 influentials, so people that you've loved the most, hated the most, who have hurt you the most, inspired you the most, and it could be beings, so including like animals, sometimes they really have a profound effect on you. There is, in voice acting, it's much faster acting. Mm-hmm. We don't have months and months to work on a script. And so you already have a signature, a mathematical signature of who you are, what inspires you. If I'm talking to my mother, it will sound a lot different than if I'm talking to Steve, right? My voice naturally changes. I don't think about it. And so it's the undeniable art of specificity. So it will change you so quickly. And a lot of people want to learn how to be someone that they're not. Like what they think a voice actor will be. I want to be a villain, so I'll talk like this, But a villain could be really sweet as well. Do you know what I mean? Whoever your bully is. So start to know who influenced you. Like who you are is who you've loved, who you've hated, who you've been hurt by. Make a love list, top 10 things that you love, and not like sunsets. I mean, I love a sunset on Malibu in March with Jeff. Let's whatever that specificity is. Be really cool about what you love, because your characters all love what you love. So if you have to create a world very quickly for an audition, their favorite color is your favorite color. Their things that they love is what you love. Things that they hate, like spiders, is what you hate, right? And I think that there's a problem when we're younger that we want to become something, and we're trying to create a world so far outside of ourselves without realizing that your voice is what a casting director is looking for, specifically. So, tell me right now, what are some things that you love? 3 things that you love. Could be
cosplay.
Cosplay.
Video games.
Video games, okay.
Food.
All right, so everybody that you play, whether it's a villain, a hero, a shy boy that saves the world, they love the same things you do. And once you have that, instead of thinking, I don't know if I could play the hero, you may be the most handsome hero in the world, but you love cosplay, you love food, and you love video games, and it takes all that homework out of it. So if I'm in the middle of a scene and I'm answering the phone, but I'm also playing a game. Yeah, Mom, great. No, I'm sorry, what did you say? Like, it's instantly specific, right?
Yeah.
Because you've put yourself into it. So go to melody.com, I'll help you, but Joe Zija has a great class. Asking these questions is great, but just if you could do 2 things that would change your life as an actor right now, besides learning how to act and do improv, is learn you. Nobody is going to show up with your read if you come in and it's you as the leading actor, you as the soldier, and they love the same things you do. I instantly, as a casting director, if there's 100 people auditioning, 90 people will go, I'm playing the villain, and they'll all sound like this. And you might be like, I don't know, I'm a villain, and I just thought I'd blow up the world, you guys, hey, right? It's totally different. As a casting director, I hear it and I want it. I'm like, oh, wait, like, what's your name?
I'm Chase.
Chase? I'll be like, shoot, Chase, he might not be right for this project, but he was the only one that did something different. Steve, you said you were looking for somebody in that project? I got this kid Chase, and it's just something different. He reminds me of like a young Kellen Goff. You want to hear him? You know what I'm saying?
Send me that demo.
Yeah, you got it? Yeah. So just fall in love with all of your idiosyncrasies and all of the things that make you you. Don't erase yourself. None of it. It's all important. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chase.
I would echo all of that. She's absolutely right, because we're all here as who we are. I look at a lot of those auditions and I think it's not what they say, it's what I see, meaning you're trying to, what do they want, what do they want, what do they want? Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't know, it doesn't matter what they want. When I read this script, what's my version of this? And I'm gonna give it and live or die by my version of it, not by chasing around something I think someone's looking for. More specifically, like Brent, I went to college and I got a degree in theater, which I agree I did not need.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't go to college. I got a lot out of college.
I have a degree in theater as well, and then I went and became a banker and did disaster relief, and
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot out of college. I'm not saying don't go to college, but I realized I shouldn't say all too late, because that makes it sound like something was wrong with it. Nothing was wrong with it. It's just not necessary. However, it was acting training of a kind. And then when I graduated college and moved to LA, I started pursuing the classics, right? TV commercial auditions, radio commercial auditions, film and TV, student films, right? We all came to Hollywood in our early 20s to be movie stars, not to do voiceovers. But when each year goes up, you're like, oh yeah, there's a way to make money. Oh, voiceovers is a career. I at the time had a job at Warner Brothers in new media, before any of what we think of as new media, back when CD-ROM was what the thing was. Anyway, they knew that I was an actor. They said, ooh, I need somebody to come in and say something about our release, Dating and Mating. So I went in and they had me do something, and the more I did little things for them, I thought, this might be the beginning of a voiceover demo. I know that actors make money doing voiceovers. I'm gonna go take a voiceover class, and took a voiceover class and felt suited for it, and continued to take classes, and then made a demo, then did all the hard work of acting, which is pressing the flesh, and so on. And that's sort of how I got into voiceover. And then as the years went by, I just got busier and busier in voiceover, to the point where I didn't even have time to do my other things in acting, except maybe do plays. So the answer that we've all given you is train yourself as an actor, and then you will meet people and learn what's available to you, and you will follow it forward like we all did, which is sort of like Plinko. Do you know the game Plinko? You enter show business up here with everything we've just said, and then your chip goes ding, 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 and mine landed in voiceovers and so on. It just, you kind of have to take the path of least resistance when you're an actor.
I was going to go to law school.
So.
Right. And I was paying off my student loans, and then I didn't go to law school.
Yes, see, that's how it is. And
I've
another
Plinko'd
easy
that,
thing,
yeah.
read a bunch of how-to books. Like Yuri and Tara Lowenthal wrote a book called Voice Over Voice Actor. Sue Blewett back in the day wrote a book called Word of Mouth. I would read every how-to book on the planet because somewhere in those books is information you don't have, and the hardest part about being an actor is all the stuff you don't see. What we're doing when we're driving around, the phone calls we're taking, the places we have to go, the people we have to meet, all of those things are what
But it's also
move your career
super
forward.
possible. I know we've given you this long list of things to do, but you can fall into fabulous on accident.
She's right. Everyone is an unlikely winner.
Yeah. Thanks. And
I was wondering, what is your least favorite or hardest line to execute?
Oh my God! Remember that video game when all your lines were too long, and they had to go in that space. And I'm like, say that faster, and then I didn't know we didn't know what to say, and
and it needed to be the exact line.
Right.
So sometimes when the translation comes through, it's like a little bit longer. And in video games specifically, when you press the button or when an effect triggers or something, right, then you have to, then it goes within that one timing, and that's how the video game is programmed. So
Just gotta go Sonic speed.
So 1.6
Yes.
seconds, but the line is.
that's exactly. So you have like 1 second to say like, behold my true art in all of its amazing glory. And I'm just here going, behold my true art in all its amazing glory. Right? And it's like, okay, cool, moving on.
And then we're in the room going, oh, that doesn't sound good. But it has to be those words because that's what it is. And so then we have to all this thing, and I'm like, can you do it faster without making it sound like you're going any faster? And do we have any leeway here? And that's sort of your question, but when you ask that, that's what I think of, are those situations. And that was a hard session because if the lines are too long, I mean, what's he supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So we had to figure that out so that those long lines could fit in, and that's where the people who own it, the clients, because ultimately it's their project, their money, they decide, and then we're off the hook.
Also, I'll say Gyokko, not known for his very short lines.
Exactly. I've
been writing out quotes for this guy, and my hand's cramping up by the end of the weekend, bro. Like that
was hard.
There's a lot of words he says.
That was a tough night.
Mela, where your characters are relatively soft-spoken.
For Demon Slayer, very easy. But I've been in games, and especially with producers who are new, so we're not mentioning anybody. But sometimes you have a director, and thank goodness you only have to talk with the director, because I know that they have that long thing, and it has to be like this enormous long line, and we only have 2 seconds to finish it. And Steve's job is to go, hey, Mela, we really love that read. Could you speed it up without making it sound like you're speeding it up, please?
Which is a dumb thing to say, but
the client wants to hear him
it is doable.
say that. It is doable. But it's like, that's where the math comes in, because you start thinking, I can't breathe here. How do I make it casually sound not rushed, but it's rushed, and it's 8 seconds.
Do it without taking a pause.
Yeah. It's a game, and that's where you go back to like recess, and you're like, okay, nobody dies, but we're gonna figure it out. Oh my gosh, my powers are amazing, and they're like, okay, that was great, but you breathed and you laughed at the end. Can we take rid of that? And you're like, okay, sure. And you still get it done because your director is really good at helping you figure out, and it's not your fault. I think the old me, like, was bullied. We'd be like, I hope I don't mess this up, and you're real nervous. But once you realize you get to work with Steve and Brent and, like, all of these incredible people, everyone's cheering you on, like, you relax, and you're like, listen, we figured out how to make 18 million universes in 15 minutes between first and third period, right?
Yep.
We figured it out as kids. We're like, woo, we just did it. We were Star Wars, Marvel, yeah, we did gymnastics. We fell in love. We broke up. We checked boxes. Do you like me? You don't? Like, we did all kinds of stuff in 15 minutes. And then we're like, okay, math. Right? Yeah. So.
And we collaborate, right? It's me saying do this, but it's more, let's collaborate on getting this done than do it my way, you're right, I'm right, you're wrong. Yeah. I think of it as a collaboration. As an actor as well, collaborating to make this right.
Were there any lines that, like, not necessarily were hard, but you just didn't like?
Ooh.
No, I loved every single thing I got to say.
Yeah, that's a fun part.
He's crazy and evil and just like going nuts.
That's some of the most effed up stuff in Demon Slayer, I feel
Oh,
like.
for sure, yeah. Like, it's so silly.
With everybody congealed in that pot.
Oh, yeah, it's the most grotesque, disgusting thing of all time. And he's like, so, what do you think? It's like, dude, nah, I didn't hate a single second of Gyokko. It's all gravy.
I think I speak for many of us when sort of an answer to that question is, at a certain point, the screaming, and you're like, ooh, I got another job today, or ooh, I know. So the screaming can get hard.
I loved screaming even. I'm not even gonna lie. When he's like,
You and Bryce Papenburg have gifts.
That's good
though.
to
Not
know,
everyone
Brent.
has this gift. Like there's this fire in his belly that allows him to always, you know. But yeah, there's some of us that definitely. Even if we have other sessions, like I just did something for Disney the other day, and it was like we were cheering and we were so excited, but I had something afterwards, and I was.
Yeah, cheering is dead. And if anything has the word zombie in it, look out. You're done for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm not even Mr. Sensitive, but that takes its toll.
Yeah.
Unless except you.
Again, it's a champagne problem. Like
It is, right.
Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Yay! Nezuko-chan!
Well, with that, we're actually pretty much at time. So yeah.
Nice.
So that was a lot of really good questions. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much to our guests. Thank you, Steve and Brent and Mela, for being here.
Thank
you.
you.
For being on the show.
Thank you so much.
I didn't do anything.
Without you, who would have brought us on stage and